Opposition looks insane in this deck, so
Okay, so it looks
I'm going
like
to take
we are
opposition.
back for round 2. Oh, pretty good. So, had a lot of fun in that last round. Our opponent did win one match in there, won one of the rounds. Came out as a bit too quick, and a turn 5 Breaker of Armies was just not enough. Everyone else we could be playing won their matches 2-0. So 3 minutes and 1 minute. So Zion had an absolute walkover. So I'm guessing there was a bit of a concession there. Slightly longer rounds with Pra and Gauslash 6 and 9. So some quick decks up there that could cause some serious problems for us. Hopefully we get matched against Pra. Our deck is a big mana deck, blue-green Eldrazi. Have a quick look at what we've got going on. Bring this in here. And see we've stacked up at 4 drops. Add a couple of nice Eldrazi finishes. A little bit of ramp, a little bit of early protection. But mostly we want to hit some 4 drops and then start smashing with giant things. Hopefully I'm coming through nice and clear. Just going to refresh my dashboard here. Alright, let's get started. So we run the die roll and we will play first. Alright, this is a tough one. Green mana and we are well and truly in the driver's seat. We've got a 2-drop, 3-drop from beyond to do a lot of good work. I mean, we've got a lot of powerful cards in this hand. We just need to draw a forest. Any land keeps us going, because Spell Shrivel to give some time. It's a little bit of a risky keep, but I am going to keep it. I just think, based on the power of the cards, the fact that From Beyond is not only going to ramp us up, it's also going to go and search and find our big Eldrazi. So I did get a bit of feedback last time that the game sounds a bit too high, so I've turned them off for this one, which is a bit unusual for me. Started off with a Sludge Crawler. I think I'm willing to offer the trade. Black-red. We're probably fine. Like, if I can get a green mana, I can drop Blister Pod, and that just makes his life a little bit more difficult. Kozilek's Channel is not what we wanted to draw, so good to see that on top. Reckless Cohort. Not a land, that's being punished here. Alright, so at this point we really just need to survive. Need to get a forest down. Once I do that, I can start blocking. We can get From Beyond, we can Eyeless Watcher, these sorts of things. As soon as I get that forest, the rest of the game opens up a bit for us. We hit Cinderglade. This is one of the things we wanted. Vile Aggregate's going to be a little bit concerning. Missed again. Yep, just the full punishes. No lands in 3 turns. I think it's pretty much over at this point. I'm going to try and hold out to see what we can do. He's got black, red, blue, colourless deck. He's gone up to a 4-5 Vile Aggregate. Yeah, it's pretty over. Vile Aggregate has Trample as well, so we're just not stopping that damage. Retreat's not real interesting. The other card that we lost is Coral Guide. Hit the forest, alright. So we are still technically in it. Blisterpod keeps me alive for a turn. Giant Mantis starts to block. The question is it worth continuing on showing my opponent my deck? He's seen a few pieces. So let's say Blisterpod blocks. It's going to be blocking Sludge Crawler, so it doesn't deal as much damage. It's going to take 4, 6, 7 damage down to 6. And this is just going to keep coming in. So, no, we're going to give it up. I just think it's worth not showing my opponent too much more of my deck here. Again, they're just coming out fast. Not a lot I like bringing in here. Again, the only way to lower our curve is to bring in Mist Intruder. And we're not using the Ingest. That's why it's not in the deck in the first place. So just have to hope for a better draw. We just got stuck. Had we got that third land at any point earlier, we would have had a real shot, being able to then start playing our creatures, blocking and defending ourselves. But our opponent curved while we sat and did nothing. So our opponent saw some Krellholm Guides and a Kozilek's Channeler. So not a lot of information. We did play the forest, so they know we're on green as well. Play first. This is better. Gonna keep. I think Fertile Thicket is probably just the play. I will take a 4th land. Because I want to hit this Hedron Archive and push up to turn against. So, play the Thicket. I wouldn't mind having, yes, an island. So second blue and none of the rest. That's particularly interesting. So we take the island, put the rest underneath. Just got straight into the sacks. Pod. Play the island. I'm not going to need red mana before turn 5, so I can afford to not show the red. And just hold up on Spell Shrivel. Because now that I've got both islands down, Cinderglade will come in untapped anyway. Our opponent is just trying the nuts. Fortunately, we can get rid of that guy. But perfect mana for them. 2 games in a row. Go away, Nettle Drone. I do not want you anywhere near me. Alright. Play a Cinderglade, play a Hedron Archive. In. Still a couple short for Breaker of Armies, but our opponent hasn't been able to come out as fast, and we've been able to hit all our land drops. So Incubator Drone coming down next turn. If we hit a land and they decide to block Blisterpod, it could be rather entertaining. Don't see that happening though. Did hit the land, we're going to swing in. Because let's be honest, if they block, it's a win. Put that down. Just keep the mana for now so that I can play the Breaker, and once Breaker's down, we can sack it off for a couple of cards. blocks here. What do we have for a follow-up? He's got 4 cards, so he's going to have to have something. Channeler is annoying, but that's fine. Don't even have to use our spawn here. Just go Breaker of the Armies. And cross our fingers that he hasn't got an answer. At the moment he hasn't got enough power to kill Breaker of Armies on the first swing. So he's thinking it through. If he puts a creature down, he can block and trade off his board for Breaker of Armies. Or so he thinks. He's got to try and find an answer relatively quickly. Using Kozilek's Channel for mana is probably not what you want to do if you're going to block. Slab Hammer, okay. So he's going to try and race. I mean, when he hasn't got a board left, he can't really race me. So it's on attacks, which means I can't use it defensively. Something I was just having a look to see whether or not I can steal it and block at full power, but it's not the case. So I think the line is just get in the attacks. So my plan here is get retreat down, still have up, turn against if something unpleasant happens, but get in for 8 damage this turn. Right. So thinking it through, if he's going to try and race, so he just comes all in, drops a blocker for Breaker of Armies, and chips it back. What I can do is steal the Sky Spawner after he's activated the ability. Use that to block the Kozilek's Channeler. So he's got the blockers, that's the main thing. Let's say he wants to come in for 8, which I'm hoping he does. He swings in. We steal the Sky Spawner with turn against, block Kozilek's Channeler. Right. So playing into our hand here nicely. Turns land, lovely. Yeah. Going to turn against. And And this is just the absolute blowouts. Because I get to kill his channeler and his sky spawner in the same line. He's now going to be forced to block Breaker, and that pretty much ends the game. Okay, Skyline Cascade allows him to prevent me from untapping Breaker. Yep, that'll work. He can't block this turn. Just straight equips, right. Alright. So I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. I think I should attack. See if he's wanting to make trade, which, not surprisingly, he is not. Let's get ourselves a couple of cards. I misplayed there. I should have untapped Breaker of Armies. Scribe one. Yep. Should have thought that through better. Leave that on top. Playing the Rider Patrol. Yep. That was a bit of a misplay. I didn't even think through the untap option until it came up. Should have played Retreat, then the land untap Breaker before combat, and I can just swing on in. Bringing my guy down to ground. Take 4, prevent me from untapping. So now he's banking on me not having a land. Unfortunately for him, I already have it. No blocks. So it's going to be a close race. He's played it better than me. Did not replay Skyline Cascade because he wants to be able to block. Alright, so my line here is get Retreat into play. Now I swing in, I get in 1, 2, 3, 4 damage. Put the counter for 5 damage. I get to scry 1 as well. So we'll do that. We'll play the land pre-combat. Scry 1 and put a 1/1 counter on this. Incubator drone can go at the bottom. And even if he finds a way out of this, I still have Wind Rider that can block on the ground. Got a lot of lethal damage in play. Still needs a creature in order to be able to protect himself. And he is really banking on me not having a land. He's already played the Cascade. So, land wins the game. Clutch of Currents wins the game. he doesn't play a creature, he will also lose. Cryptic Cruiser, yep. I don't have anything exiled at this point, so that's not going to help him. But it does let him block. Giant Mantis allows me to block. And I just want to get damage through, so let's send him. He has to block. He can chump here or eat one of my scions. If he was, I imagine he would take the scion as opposed to the blister pod. It's a damn close game. He's going to 1. We've got our blocker. So, there's a lot of ways he can do this. He has 2 cards in hand. He keeps one of my things tapped down with Skyline Cascade. But at the moment he needs to find more damage, as well as a way to get rid of Giant Mantis. And with only 5 mana to work with. 3 cards, one of them is Skyline Cascade. He's running through the options, and none of them look promising. Barrage Tyrant is okay. Can't afford to attack anymore, so he's gone on the defense. He's hoping to get an untap. If he gets to untap, he can start throwing things at me. Clutch. I believe that is a win. So what I need to do is clutch, cast with Awaken, bounce this, turning this into a creature. And now he has only 2 blockers for my attackers. Alright. So he snuck through. Our opponent is doing some horrible things. This is one of those times where it's possible that Boiling Earth might even be worth bringing in. Not a lot for us to bring in though. Don't see much need. Slab Hammer's okay, but I'm not going to bring in a Reclaiming Vines just for that, I don't think. It's a really slow grindy approach, and I think we can win the slow grindy game. So we're going to run it back. I really got to work on my sideboarding when drafting technique, thinking about which cards are most likely to appear in my sideboard. It's interesting to see how the other match is going. Zion and Gauslash were the 2 people who won in very short amounts of time. I believe Zion had game times of 3 minutes and 1 minute. But it looks like he just got a fortunate concession from his opponent. Alright. I'm seeing lands and spells, so I think this is going to be just fine. It's not ideal. I don't love the fact that I don't have any early creatures. I'm just going to have to hope that he doesn't come out too hard at us. Start out with some tap lands. Retreat to Kazandu will keep us alive a little bit. He's got the slab hammer. Play the island. So at this point it's just retreat and then incubate a drone. Herald is going to become scary. Not happy to see that at all. Still retreat, as the long-term value is just really important here. Once I get incubator drone down, I can start pumping counters onto it. Sky spawner for 2. Sack the Scion and attack, possibly. No. Still coming in for 2 on us. Alright. Sky spawner of our own. So a few options present themselves. I can use 3 mana to play the Sky Spawner. Play that. I use that. Right. So I'm thinking through my head how exactly to approach this. I want to get as many creatures in play as possible. I can get the Sky Spawner and the Coral Helm Guide down and put a counter on the spawner so it will trade with an opponent's Sky Spawner. Problem is he's most likely to run out this slab hammer. I think that's the best approach at this point, is to play a Sky Spawner. Sack this. Put a counter here. So even if he decides to slab hammer the flyer, my creature still trades with his. And I can play Coral Helm Guide. Now this most likely prompts him to put the slab hammer on something else and swing in. I believe he missed a land drop, so picking up his lands isn't the most helpful for him. And he's just got the disregard. It's pretty painful. Alright. The worst part is clutch doesn't help us a lot here. Alright. It's just coming in. Alright. Sludge Crawler is going to be a problem later on anyway, so I'm just going to take the opportunity to kill it. He's going the aggro plan because I'm guessing he's out of lands. Yep, no lands. So, Bane of Balaged is a very good thing to see. Start off with the drone. So we just need to survive at this point. We need to hold out as long as possible. And to that end, I am going to gain 2 life. Assuming that I'm forced to block with my Scion, next turn can be a Blighted Woodland, gain 4 life, add counters, etc. Bane of Balaged coming shortly thereafter. Alternately, if I see a way to keep the Scion around, Bane of Balaged can come down next turn. You can start doing things like Clutch of Currents. But our opponent is still struggling to get lands. He's operating very well on 3 lands, but he has no lands. I mean, the other option next turn is to do something like play a land, put a counter on Incubator Drone, Clutch of Currents the Herald, just keep him as slow as possible. He's just going the aggros. taking 5 to 10. Block here. Cryptic Cruiser, sure. Alright. Just need to keep gaining the life, I think. So, given he's missing some permanents, got half a chance of doing some damage here. My opponent has to start drawing lands at some point, and that's going to start to spell disaster for me. Quick look at the deck here. I'm trying to figure out what I can get in order to stop this assault, because I have From Beyond, which can go and obtain an Eldrazi card. So I can go get the Breaker of Armies, I can get Kozilek's Channeler. That's basically all. Okay, Cryptic Cruiser. He's just getting some aggression. I can't imagine it just swinging in. I mean, even if you get me down lower, Bane of Balaged comes back at you, you lose 2 permanents. No, I didn't think so. He's just wasted an activation. That was a very strange line. He's currently got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sounds like he's misclicked and has therefore given up. Fair enough. He had a reasonable chance of playing through this game. Misclicked through his combat step. But even so, let's assume he attacks all out. He loses 1 to Bane. The Cryptic Cruiser. I take 4, 5, 6, 7, go into 5. I swing back, he has to sacrifice 2 permanents. Let's say Kozilek Sentinel on the land. He's left with just 2 creatures. I clutch up Currents, the Eldrazi Sky Spawner. It doesn't look good for him, let's be honest. There's really no way he was getting out of it. I'd really recovered with that Bane. Anyway, that's round 2. We're going to drop back down and we will see you in the finals.